Hari Om. In our previous classes, we have covered the following topics from Unit 1. We have seen what is the overview of C# program, what is the structure of a C# program, what are namespaces, what are command line arguments with suitable examples. Also, we have discussed from Unit 2 the basic concepts of C# programming. All these concepts we have discussed with examples. In this video, we are going to cover what is the object-oriented aspects of C# program. We will be talking about what is a class, what is an object, what are the different concepts that are coming under classes. Then we will also talk about the properties of object-oriented approach, inheritance, polymorphism, interfaces, operator overloading, delegates, exception handling, multi-threading, etc. Let us start with what are classes and objects. In our real-time programming environment, even if you are going to have a very simple program, it becomes more complicated because they need to model the behavior of real world objects such as cars, planes, or sometimes ideas like mathematical expressions or maybe a bank transaction. These are examples of real-time objects which we will encounter in our program. So to manage this complexity, what we are going to do, we are going to break the system, break the program into smaller pieces which becomes much more manageable. These smaller pieces and the manageable pieces are known as objects. So in general, I can say the classes are blueprint for an object, or I can say it is an abstraction for an object, or it can also be called as an extensible program code template for creating objects, or you can say it is a set of instructions to build a specific type of object. And these classes do not define any data. They will not define any data. It just gives you an abstraction of a particular real-time object that you are going to encounter in a C# program. So any object-oriented programming language defines a class only to specify what will be the skeleton or structure or the attributes of a particular real-time entity and not the values of the real-time objects. So this is a simple definition that we can give for a class and object. A class can be called as a description of a collection of data and their functions that operate on them. Or I can say it is a group of logically related data items and their functions, or it can also be called as a template for an object. Whereas an object is an instance of a collection of data and the functions that operate on them. That means you are going to define how the data looks like in the class, and the object becomes the original instance of that particular class. So say for example, when you define a student class, you may be giving name of the student, roll number of the student, rank of the student. It is vaguely represented in the class. Whereas if you start assigning values to the name of the student, roll number of the student and rank of the student, something like Amrita, roll number is 10, rank is 2. Like that, if you start assigning values to these members, it is going to become an instance of that particular class, which can be called as an object. This is an example of how to define a class. I am defining a class here. As usual, we use the class keyword. I define the class called as car, and I am going to have a data member here. I am going to have a data member. I am having a method member. Then I have completed the class declaration by closing the class with a curly braces. Again, I am declaring another class. I call it as program, and then I declare a main method which will be creating an object of this particular class, creating an object using the new operator of this particular class, and invoke the method of this particular class. So this is a sample program class example. Let us see what is the general definition for defining a class. So this slide shows you what is the syntax for defining a class. Say you have an access specifier, then you have the keyword class, then you have the class name, then you have member variables declared like this, then you have member methods declared like this. So any class will have an access specifier, will have a class name, list of member variables, list of member methods. These member variables again will be declared with an access specifier and a data type and some variable names. The method members will be having again an access specifier. Since it is a method, it will have a return type, a method name and the parameter list. This is the format of declaring a class. Now if you take the access specifier, the access specifier is used to specify the access rules for the members as well as the class itself. So if you don't give an access specifier, say if you don't give an access specifier, if the access specifier is not specified, then for the classes, internal becomes the default access specifier. For the data members and method members, private becomes the default access specifier. Then we have also seen, apart from access specifier, you have the data type also. So this data type specifies what is the type of the variable, what is the type of the member variable, what is the type of the member variable. Then you have the return type. The return type is used in the member method. So it specifies what is the data type of return value that will be given by the method. Then if you want to access the class members, whether it is a data member or a method member, you will be using the dot operator. And the dot operator is the one which links the name of an object with its members. And remember, there is no semicolon after the curly braces. In C++, if you are defining a class, you have to give a semicolon here in C++. But in C#, we don't use a semicolon here. So this is the format of declaring a class in C#. Now if you take the member variables are the one which you declare here. This is called as member variables. Let us see what is the property of a member variable. Now the member variables are the one which are called as the attributes of an object. Say for example, if you take a student class, for a student, what are the attributes? Maybe name of the student will be one of the attributes. Roll number of the student may be another attribute. Rank or percentage of the student may be another attribute, etc. So all these member variables defines the attributes of a particular object. Mostly these attributes or the member variables will be kept as a private member so that you can implement encapsulation property of object oriented approach. And all these variables can be accessed using the public member function. That means what? You can define a method that invokes the data member. You can define a member method then which will be invoking the member variable. Say for example, I am defining a public method here. I am defining a public method which will be accessing the private variable, which will be accessing the private member variable. That is what is said there. That is what is specified here. The member variables can only be accessed using the public member function, and these variables are known as instance variables. We call them instance variables. So in general, your C# class members can be instance members or it can be static members. If they are instance members, again it can be a data member or a function member. Even for static members, it can be a data member or a function member. If you take data members, these are the three types of data members we can have. You can have a field. Field is nothing but a instance variable, or you can have some constants, or you can have some events also declared as a data member. Whereas if you take the function members, or your normal methods can be called as a function member, or if you define some properties or indexes, that will also be called as a function member, or your usual constructors and destructors are also function members. These are the different types of members that will be available in a class. So that is the basic introduction about what is a class, how to define a class, what are the member variables of the class. Next, let us see how to create an object. So if you want to create an object, you are going to declare it, then you have to instantiate the object. Declaring and instantiating. Suppose if you have a class name called a student, then the class name and an object name must be given. Class name and object name must be given. If you want to instantiate, you have to give a new operator. When you are simply declaring an object, no memory will be allocated. Only if you instantiate an object, memory will be allocated. You can declare an object like this, then you can instantiate the object using the new operator, or you can combine them together like student is the class name, object name, new and the class name, new operator and the class name. And all the class members will be accessed using the dot operator. Use your object name dot the member variable name, object name dot the member method name, followed by the parameter list. So this is how we are going to declare an object and we are going to instantiate object. We will see constructors and destructors also in the next video.